Welcome back, dear students, to the laser session. This is the third video. Now, to begin with, we are going to discuss something about the basic condition for the laser action. So, essentially, there are the two conditions which are required for the laser actions. The first one is population inversion, and second one is the metastable state. Already we have discussed something about this population inversion. So it is nothing but it is the energy state at which the population of a particular higher energy state is more than that of a lower energy state. It means more number of the atoms should be in higher energy state compared to any of its lower energy state. So this is population inversion. And second one is the metastable state. It is the energy state where atom stays for a longer interval of time of the order of 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 to power minus 2 second. It means this is a special energy state where atom stays for longer duration. Otherwise, what happens? The atom stays for of the order time of the order of 10 raised to minus 8 second. So that time was very less. So trigger with external photon, but with this energy level, that is the metastable state, here it stays for a longer duration of the order of 10 raised to minus 3 to 10 to power minus 2 second. So these two conditions we would like to analyze with this particular energy level diagram. Let an atom gains the energy and goes to the higher energy state, that is E2. It stays for a very short interval of 10 to the power minus 8 second, and it comes to the intermediate energy level called as E3, which is nothing but a metastable state. Now what happens in metastable state? It stays for some longer duration. Then afterwards, from E3 it comes to E1. Now what happens? This energy level E3, where we get more time to trigger with external photon. So whenever external photon is incident on such a metastable state, then what happens? It leads to the stimulated emission, which gives out two photons. So basically there are the conditions. One is population inversion and the metastable state. Next is the requisites for laser action. So what are the basic requirement for the laser action? Now totally there are three the requisites are there. The first one is an excitation source for pumping, and second one is active media, the third one is laser cavity. We will discuss one by one. The first one is an excitation source for pumping. So already what pumping is and what are the different types of the pumping we have discussed in the previous session. It may be optical, it may be electrical, or it may be a chemical pumping. With any one of the pumping process, the atoms gains the energy and they go to the higher energy state. That is the first one, an excitation source for pumping. Second one is an active media. So active media, it is a material, it may be a solid, liquid or gaseous. So which supports the population inversion, and in terms it is going to have a metastable state. In turn it leads to the stimulated emission. So we have to choose a material such a way that which can support all the three things, such that we can have the stimulated emission. The third one is the laser cavity. So this laser cavity, the laser cavity is made up of there are two mirrors are there. The one is the left side, we can see the fully silvered mirror, and the right side partially silvered mirror. At the center the active media is there, This is the active media. It may be a solid, liquid or gaseous state. And here there is a provision for the pumping, such that whenever the energy is given, the active media, they are capable enough to gain the energy and go to the higher energy state. And obviously the active media has the metastable state, and this active media is bound between the two mirrors. Now how exactly the lasing action is going to take place, just we'll try to understand. So due to this, the pumping process, the active media, the active centers, the atoms, they gain the energy and they go to the excited state. Just we'll try to understand this one. So this is lower energy and this is the higher energy. Now whenever, due to the pumping process, the atom in the ground state, okay, they gain the energy and they go to the higher energy state. Now as they move to the higher energy state, okay, definitely as it is the active media, it is going to have a metastable state. So it means the atom, it is going to stay for a longer duration. So obviously it is seen that more number of atoms, they go on accumulating in this, the metastable state. So a stage is reached where we can see that there are more number of atoms in higher energy state compared to the lower energy state. That will lead to the population inversion. So during this, one of the atom, it jumps from higher energy to the lower energy, and it gives out a photon of appropriate energy, h nu. It's a spontaneous emission. Now during this spontaneous emission, whatever the photon is emitted, so this photon, we can assume that it is moving in this particular direction from our left side to the right side. So this photon, it comes and hits the partially silvered mirror. So obviously it reflects. So that photon is reflected. That photon, during its back journey, okay, now after reflection, during its back journey, this photon, it interacts with an atom which is in metastable state. Let us consider one of the atom is here. So that particular, the reflected atom, that reflected the photon, it interacts with this particular atom which is in metastable state. So due to this, what happens? We get two photons. So two photons are coming out. So due to this, what happens? Each of the photon, whenever they move, they hit the reflecting mirror and bounce back. During their back journey, we get two photons. Now these two photons, the green color what I have shown, so they move to the left side, they hit the perfectly silvered mirror and once again bounce back. During their back journey, they stimulate another two atoms which are in excited state, that is in metastable state. So due to this, we get four photons. Likewise, these photons, four photons, they move to the right side, that is partially silvered mirror, once again bounce back. During their back journey, those four photons, they hit another four atoms which are in metastable state. They leads to 8 atoms. The 8 photons are stimulated. So likewise, the multiplication, it goes on, okay, from left to right or right to left, such that a stage is reached when the energy of the photons is sufficient such that they can penetrate through this partially silvered mirror. Then the laser emerges out. This is the basic principle involved in the laser, that is laser cavity. To brief once again, so due to the pumping process, the active media they gains the energy and they go to the excited state. In due course, we are going to achieve the population inversion. There are more number of atoms in higher energy state, so that particular active media is going to have a metastable state, such that the atom is going to stay for a longer duration of time. So during this process, one of the atom, it jumps from higher energy to the lower energy. It gives out a photon. So that photon, let us consider, it moves in this particular direction towards the partially reflecting mirror. Then it reflects. So during its back journey, it interacts with atom which is in higher energy state, that is in metastable state. So during that process, during its back journey, we observe that we get two photons. Now these two photons, they go and hit the fully silvered mirror, and it bounces back, and during its back journey, those two photons interacts with another two atoms in the metastable state. We get four photons. Likewise, during each the interaction, the reflection, the photons are multiplied, and once at one fine time, when the energy is sufficient, it just penetrates out through the partially reflecting mirror. This is how the laser is coming out. This is the basic working principle of any of the laser. Now suppose with this a desired wavelength of the laser we can get. So that is given by the equation L is equal to n lambda by 2, where L is the distance between the two mirrors, and wavelength lambda is the wavelength, the desired wavelength, the wavelength in which we are interested, and n is the modes, the number of the modes, which are the standing modes which are present in between the two mirrors. So likewise, by adjusting the distance between the two mirrors, we get the laser of desired wavelength. So with this, the condition and requisite, now we'll try to see what exactly the laser action is. How the word LASER, what is the meaning of the laser, we'll try to understand. It is the light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. First, to analyze, there is one atom and one photon interaction. So due to this, what happens? We get a stimulated emission. So with this stimulated emission, we get two photons. So these two photons once again interact with two atoms independently, and each time another two photons are given out. So altogether, so four photons are there. Now these four photons, they interact with the atom, and in turn they multiply, so it becomes 8. Then these independently they interact with another atoms, so it will become 16. So likewise, the multiplication factor goes on increasing. That's why it is known as a light is amplified, that is a light amplification, by which process it is a stimulated emission. Therefore, this is what exactly the laser stands for, that is light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Now with this, the background, now we'll come to the different types of the working laser. So as per the syllabus, the carbon dioxide laser is there, So coming to the carbon dioxide laser, so this was invented by a Indian origin CKN Patel. So in the year 1963 at ET&T lab at USA, he has developed this, the carbon dioxide laser. Now carbon dioxide molecule, it has three different modes of vibration and two different types of rotational modes. So we'll try to see one by one. So in the three different modes of vibration, they are symmetric stretching, asymmetric and bending mode. So these are the three different modes of vibration. The first one is the symmetric vibration. See, in the symmetric stretching mode of vibration, we observe that the CO2 carbon dioxide, the molecule, it has one carbon atom at the center and the two oxygen, they are on the either side, and the dark line is, it is the molecular axis. Now in the symmetric stretching mode, the carbon atom will be fixed. So this is going to be fixed, and the oxygen atom, these two oxygen atom, so they will be oscillating in such a way that either they are moving towards the carbon atom or they will be moving away from the carbon atom. That is, at a given instant of time, the vibration is such a way that with respect to the molecular axis, the carbon atom is stable and the oxygen atoms, they will be moving towards the carbon atom or they will be moving away at a given instant of time. So this is known as symmetric stretching mode of vibration. The second one is asymmetric. In the asymmetric, all three, the atoms, they are vibrating such that the carbon atom, in this example, this carbon atom, it may be moving towards the oxygen and this oxygen is moving towards the carbon. They are moving towards each other, while the another oxygen atom, it is moving away. So such type of vibration, we are going to call it as asymmetric stretching mode of vibration. Okay, in this, the carbon atom, they are moving in opposite direction. One is moving towards the carbon and other is moving away. So such type of the vibrations, we are going to call it as asymmetric stretching mode of vibration. The third one is bending mode. So bending mode, we can observe, so they are going to stretch in such a way, with these two types of the stretching will be there, the carbon and the oxygen atom. So there are three types of the modes of vibrations are there, and the other two types of rotational mode. So this is the rotational modes are there. So we can observe the carbon atom and the oxygen atom, they rotate in such a way that either it may be a clockwise or it may be a anti-clockwise. Totally two types of the rotational mode of vibrations are there. So these are the basics about the modes of the vibration and the rotational mode associated with the carbon dioxide. Now we will see the carbon dioxide, the construction of the carbon dioxide laser. See, carbon dioxide laser, it's the dimension we have mentioned here. The length, it is made up of a quartz tube which is of length 5 meters and the diameter is of 1.5 centimeter. It's just a narrow tube, we can say. The diameter is very very small. The length of the tube is around 5 meter. Now coming to the construction, we can see that the tube, this is the tube. On either side of the tube there is a perfectly reflecting and partially reflecting silver mirrors are there, and along the tube there is a water jacket. So this is the water jacket, so where there is a provision for the cold water to circulate, that is inlet, and this is the outlet for the water. And we can observe on the other side, so there is a provision for the inlet for the gases and outlet for the gases. So basically we are taking the composition of the gases in this laser are CO2, the nitrogen and the helium. Their composition is 1:2:3. And the pressure which is built up is 16 to 17 torr pressure is maintained inside the gas tube. And here there is a provision for the electrical pumping. A high DC voltage is applied. And we can observe one more as a Brewster's window. We will discuss what is the role of the Brewster's window. Now to begin with, how exactly the laser is going to come out from this a narrow tube. So this can be understood on the basis of the energy level diagram. So this is the energy level diagram as far as the carbon dioxide laser is concerned. Now the working of this particular the CO2 laser is explained on the basis of the energy level diagram. So we can see here the ground state. So this ground state corresponds to the nitrogen and the CO2. Now we apply a very high voltage. We apply a very high voltage such that due to that high voltage, the gases what we have taken here, the CO2, nitrogen and helium, the discharge of the gases takes place here. So due to the discharge of the gases, the free electrons are liberated, and these free electrons are accelerated towards the anode. Due to a high potential, so these electrons are accelerated, and these fast moving electrons, so during this process they collide with the nitrogen atom which are present in the gas tube. So these the fast moving accelerated electrons, they do collide with the nitrogen atoms, and now the nitrogen atom is capable enough to gain this energy and go to the higher energy state. So the next process we are going to explain on the basis of the energy level diagram. Now the nitrogen atom it gains the energy and goes to the higher energy state. The nitrogen atom, they interact with the fast moving electron and they go to the higher energy state. Now this higher energy state, it is a metastable state in case of the nitrogen. So it stays for some longer duration, as we have discussed previously. Now what happens, this in the carbon dioxide, CO2, so it has got different energy levels. Out of that uh, one of the energy level, E5 energy level, so this E5 energy level, its energy is exactly matching with the energy level, metastable energy level of nitrogen. So both the energy level, they are having same, that means they have the same energy level, that is the metastable state of nitrogen and E5 energy level of CO2, they have same energy level. Therefore the energy transfer takes place from nitrogen to carbon dioxide. Okay, so such type of the uh, transfer it takes place, and the nitrogen atoms, it comes to the ground state. Now the carbon dioxide laser is in the higher energy state. So this is a simple process. In first case, the electron, the fast moving electron, they interacts with the nitrogen atoms. Due to this, they go to the higher energy state, that is the metastable state. And in the metastable state, what happens? That particular energy level, it is almost equal to the energy, one of the energy level of carbon dioxide, that is E5. Therefore the energy transfer takes from nitrogen to carbon dioxide. Now carbon dioxide laser, CO2 molecule is in higher energy state. So this is a simple process. So this, the whole process we can analyze with this in two ways. We divide this in two sessions. The first one, the first type is known as the, we call it as the first type of collision. So the first type of the collision, wherein the fast moving electron, they interact with the nitrogen atom, then the result is such a way that we get the nitrogen atom in excited state. Star indicates the excited state. Now here E1 and E2, these are the energy of the electrons before and after collision. So initially the energy of the fast moving electron was E1, it collides with nitrogen. So then the electron gives the energy and it comes to the lower energy state. Its energy becomes E2, and nitrogen atom gains the energy and go to the higher energy state. We have denoted it as star. So star indicates it is in excited state, where N2 and N2 star, N1 and N2 star, these are the energy of the nitrogen in ground and excited state. So with this, the nitrogen atom, it goes to the higher energy state, that is metastable state. The second process, what we have shown as the collision, because the energy level of CO2 and nitrogen, they matches. Therefore, so that type of the energy transfer, we call it as resonance transfer of energy. So that is known to be a second type of collision. In the second type of collision, what happens? It is N2 star, it is already in excited state, plus it interacts with the CO2 in the ground state, which is in the ground state, such that by gaining the energy, the carbon dioxide CO2 molecule goes to the higher energy state, that is E5, and N2, it comes to the ground state. Once again, the nitrogen atom, which it comes to the ground state. Once again, it is ready for the interaction with a new fast moving electron. So this is a continuous process. Now the atom is already raised to the higher energy state. Already the atom is in the E5 energy level. Now from E5 it may jump to E4, it may jump to E3. So whenever it jumps from E5 to E4, it is giving the photon of wavelength 10.6 micrometer, and if it jumps from E5 to E3, it gives out 9.6 micrometer. So these are the desired wavelengths in which we are interested. Later on from E4 it comes to E2, and from E3 it may come to E2. Now what happens, this E2, it is even taken as a metastable state as far as the CO2 laser is concerned, and a state, okay, in a short interval of time in the E2, so there will be a more number of accumulation of atoms. If there are more number of atoms are going to accumulate in E2, it is going to affect the population inversion. In E5 there will be less, so it is going to affect the population inversion. To overcome this, okay, we have used the helium atom. So helium, okay, gas, if you take the helium atom, they have got very good electrical conductivity. So during this process, whatever the heat is evolved, okay, so that heat is absorbed by the helium atom. So in E2 level, whatever the atoms are excited, so that energy is absorbed by the helium atom, and that energy is circulated through the cold water which is circulated, and that energy is absorbed and taken out, such that the temperature is maintained. So role of the helium atom is here to absorb the energy. So likewise, so the wavelength from E5 to E4, that is 10.6 micrometer, and E5 to E3 9.6 micrometer. So these are the two desired wavelength in which we are interested. So this wavelength, okay, we can show it here. So those any one of the wavelength, if you take into account, so it moves in this particular direction, it hits the partially silvered mirror and bounce back. During its back journey, it stimulates the E5 atom, and due to that one we get two photons. Those two photons are of 10.6 micrometer. Once again they move to the perfectly silvered mirror and bounce back, and this process continues, and this in the active, okay, the laser cavity, what we discussed, that process takes place. So a desired photon, it continuously bounces between those two mirrors, and when the energy is sufficient, it comes out from the partially silvered mirror. So this is how a desired wavelength we can get it out from the partially silvered mirror. Now the question is, what is the role of this particular the Brewster's window? The role of the Brewster's window is to get the plane polarized light, and during that in the energy level diagram we see, you can see that there is every possibility that it may jump from E5 to directly E3, E2, or through the ground state. So different the wavelengths they will come out during this process. At that time there is a provision in such a way that, so this region here between the perfectly silvered mirror and the Brewster's window, whatever the region is there, there we use some inert gas. So inert gas such a inert gas that they absorb all the wavelength except our desired the wavelength which we are interested, which is coming out as a laser. Except that wavelength, rest all it is absorbed in between this the perfectly and partial. This is a perfectly silvered mirror and the Brewster's window, so that rest all okay, all the wavelengths are absorbed except the wavelength in which we are interested, that will come out emerge as a laser. So this is the the working, the principle, the construction and working of the carbon dioxide laser.